Nobody in the history of rap has been loved this hard and hated this publicly. He has more Billboard Hot 100 hits than any artist alive. He built an empire from scratch. He turned a Canadian city into the rap capital of the world. He redefined what a hip-hop artist could be. Businessman, label owner, brand, and cultural force all wrapped into one. And then one man, with one song, made the entire world question whether any of it was real. This is not the Drake that headlines the festival posters. This is the full story. The wheelchair, the broken home, the actor who became a rapper that nobody took seriously, the industry manipulation, the beefs, the secrets, and the single most devastating rap beef in modern music history that cracked the carefully constructed image of the biggest artist on the planet wide open. This is Drake, all of it. It starts in Toronto, Canada. A Jewish mother and a black father in a household that looks stable from the outside, until it isn't. His parents divorce when he is 5 years old. His father, Dennis Graham, moves back to Memphis, leaving young Aubrey Drake Graham alone in Toronto with his mother, Sandy, a woman who works retail and struggles financially to keep them afloat. He grows up in two worlds simultaneously, spending the school year in a Jewish neighbourhood in Toronto with his mother, often the only black kid in the room, spending summers in Memphis with his father, navigating a completely different cultural environment. He belongs fully to neither world. He is always slightly outside, always observing, always absorbing. That feeling of being the outsider, of never fully fitting anywhere, becomes the emotional core of everything he ever creates. At 15, he lands a role on the Canadian teen drama Degrassi, playing a basketball player named Jimmy Brooks, who gets shot and ends up in a wheelchair. Wheelchair Jimmy. He spends 7 years on that show, and those 7 years become both his launchpad and the anchor tied to his ankle at the same time. Because in hip-hop, nobody takes actors seriously. He starts releasing mixtapes while still on Degrassi, Room for Improvement, Comeback Season. He is rapping over other artists' beats, building a fan base slowly, putting music directly into the hands of people online before the industry has even figured out the internet properly. The blogs pick him up, the streets start talking, but the labels laugh. An actor from a Canadian teen show trying to rap? The skepticism is total and it is loud. Industry insiders dismiss him openly. Hip-hop purists reject him immediately. He is not from New York, not from Atlanta, not from Compton. He is from Toronto, a city that at that point had produced exactly 0 globally relevant rap careers. Then Lil Wayne hears him. Wayne signs Drake to Young Money Records and the entire conversation changes overnight. Suddenly the actor from Degrassi has the cosign of the hottest rapper alive. Thank Me Later drops and debuts at #1. Take Care follows and wins the Grammy for Best Rap Album. The kid nobody took seriously is now the most talked about artist in the game. But Drake does not stop at being an artist. This is where his story separates completely from every other rapper of his generation. He studies the business like a textbook. He launches OVO Sound, his own record label. He creates OVO Fest, his own festival in Toronto that becomes one of the most anticipated events in hip-hop every single year. He signs a partnership with Nike and creates his own Jordan brand line. He partners with Virginia Black Whiskey. He invests in restaurants, real estate, and businesses across multiple industries. He builds a compound in Toronto called the Embassy. He does not just make music, he constructs an empire with architecture and intention. He turns Toronto itself into a brand. The city that hip-hop ignored becomes the city hip-hop cannot stop referencing. He puts it on the map so permanently that the Toronto Raptors make him their global ambassador. A rapper becomes the face of an NBA franchise. That is not luck. That is a business mind operating at a level most artists never even think about. But success at that scale attracts fire, and Drake has never been short of enemies. The beef with Meek Mill explodes publicly in the summer of 2015, when Meek accuses Drake of using ghostwriters, of not actually writing his own lyrics. In hip-hop, there is no accusation more damaging than that. Authenticity is the entire foundation. If you didn't write it, you didn't live it. And if you didn't live it, you are a fraud. Drake responds with back-to-back. a diss track so sharp and so perfectly constructed that it receives a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Song, the first diss track in history to receive that honor. He doesn't just win the beef, he turns the beef into an award-winning record. But the ghostwriting question never fully disappears. It follows him, because where there is smoke, there is usually something burning. Then comes the paternity story that the entire internet cannot stop talking about. For over a year, Drake denies having a son, a child named Adonis, born to French model and artist Sophie Brousseau, exists in the world while his father says nothing publicly. When Pusha T reveals the existence of Adonis in the devastating diss track The Story of Adidon in 2018, Drake is exposed not just for having a hidden child, but for actively concealing him. The silence around his own son, the denial, the months of saying nothing while a child existed without public acknowledgement from his father. It is not a good look. And in a career built on emotional honesty and vulnerability, the hypocrisy cuts deep. He eventually acknowledges Adonis. He makes peace with it publicly. He puts his son in his music and his Instagram and his life. But the damage to his carefully curated image of radical emotional transparency is real and permanent. And then comes Kendrick Lamar. What starts as subtle jabs in 2013 builds across a decade of tension until 2024, when it detonates into the most watched rap beef in the history of the genre. Kendrick drops Not Like Us, a direct, surgical, and absolutely merciless dismantling of Drake's character, his authenticity, his relationships with young women, and his cultural identity. The song becomes a phenomenon. It wins 5 Grammy Awards. Kendrick performs it at the Super Bowl halftime show in front of a global audience of over 100 million people. Drake responds. The responses land flat. The internet has already decided. For the first time in his career, Drake loses. Not just a beef, he loses the narrative. The story he spent 15 years building, the sensitive, emotionally honest, self-made outsider who outworked everyone, gets picked apart line by line in front of the entire world. So who is Drake really? He is the kid from a broken home who used his outsider status as fuel. The actor nobody respected, who outworked every rapper who laughed at him. The businessman who built an empire while his peers were just spending. The artist who revolutionized what hip-hop could sound like emotionally. And he is also the man who hid his son, who has faced serious accusations he has never fully answered, who built an image of vulnerability while allegedly operating with calculated coldness behind it. He is not a hero. He is not a villain. He is the most complicated, most successful, most controversial artist of his generation. And the full truth of who he is probably lives somewhere between the music he made and the secrets he kept. The rap game has never seen anything like him, and after Kendrick, it may never look at him the same way again.